Hey there, I'm the Silent Newsroom, and let's be real, the news can be a bit of a broken record sometimes, but don't worry, we're here to break free from the echo chamber. Welcome to the Silent Newsroom, where we uncover the news that no one talks about. Today, we're diving into some lesser-known historical topics that will surprise you. From shadowy organizations to government experiments, get ready to have your mind blown. All right, let's kick things off in South Africa during the heat of the Cold War. Picture this. Apartheid is in full swing, tensions are high, and whispers of a secret organization called SAIMR are spreading like wildfire. SAIMR, short for the South African Institute for Maritime Research, might sound about as exciting as watching paint dry, but trust me, this is anything but. We're talking alleged assassination plots, chemical weapons research, and enough intrigue to make a spy novelist blush. Some say SAIMR was a rogue outfit, operating in the shadows, carrying out the dirty work that the South African government didn't want to touch. The 1998 Truth and Reconciliation Commission in South Africa even looked into SAIMR, but hard evidence was scarce. No official records, no smoking guns, just a whole lot of smoke and a whole lot of questions. So did SAIMR actually exist? And if so, what were they really up to? It's one of those historical mysteries that continues to fascinate and frustrate researchers to this day. From the shadowy streets of Cold War South Africa, we fast forward a few decades and find ourselves in the jungles of Vietnam. The Vietnam War, as we know, was a brutal conflict that left scars on both the land and the people. And one of the most horrifying weapons deployed during this conflict wasn't a gun or a bomb, but a herbicide known as Agent Orange. You've probably heard of it, but the true extent of its impact is often overlooked. We're not just talking about defoliating jungles here, folks. We're talking about long-term health consequences for both Vietnamese civilians and American veterans. But the story gets even darker when we dig into the Terror Dome experiments. Picture this: enclosed structures where scientists funded by the US government exposed plants and animals to Agent Orange to study its effects. The legacy of Agent Orange is a sobering reminder of the human cost of war and the lengths to which governments will go to achieve their objectives. Chapter 3. Night Doctors? Medical myth or terrifying reality? Let's shift gears now and journey back to the United States in the 19th century. A time when medical science was still finding its footing and rumors spread like wildfire. And few rumors were as chilling as the tales of the night doctors. Imagine this: you're a member of the black community in a time when racial tensions are high and distrust of the medical establishment runs deep. Stories circulate about white doctors who prowl the streets at night, snatching black people from their homes. These night doctors, as they came to be known, weren't there to heal. They were there to experiment on their victims, using them as unwilling test subjects in gruesome medical procedures. While there's no evidence of an organized group of rogue physicians, the fear was very real and rooted in a history of exploitation. So, while the night doctors might not have existed in the way they were imagined, the fear they instilled was very real, reflecting the deep mistrust between black communities and the medical establishment. Chapter 4. The Birth of a Nation, a cinematic triumph and a moral reckoning. From the shadows of medical mistrust, we turn our attention to the silver screen, a place where stories are told and history is often rewritten. And few films have been as impactful and controversial as D.W. Griffith's 1915 epic The Birth of a Nation. This groundbreaking silent film, clocking in at over 3 hours long, transported audiences back to the tumultuous era of the Civil War and Reconstruction. It was a cinematic marvel, employing innovative filming techniques that would shape the future of filmmaking. But The Birth of a Nation wasn't just a technological triumph, it was a cultural earthquake, sparking debates and protests that reverberate to this day. Why? Because the film's portrayal of history was deeply flawed, riddled with racial bias and historical inaccuracies. The Ku Klux Klan, for example, was depicted not as a white supremacist terrorist organization, but as a heroic force for order in the post-Civil War South. Despite the controversy, The Birth of a Nation was a box office smash, raking in millions and cementing its place in cinematic history. It's a stark reminder that art, even at its most technically brilliant, can be a dangerous weapon when used to distort history and perpetuate harmful ideologies. Chapter 5. War on Drugs, a war without end. From the silver screen, we fast forward to the 1970s, a time of social upheaval and political change. And it was during this era that President Richard Nixon declared a new kind of war, a war on drugs. This war, declared in 1971, wasn't fought on a traditional battlefield with tanks and soldiers. It was fought in the streets of America, in homes and in communities. The enemy, illegal drugs and those who used and sold them. Nixon's declaration ushered in an era of harsh drug policies, increased law enforcement funding, and mass incarceration that continues to this day. The goal was simple: to eradicate drug use through strict laws and aggressive enforcement. But as the decades wore on, the cracks in this approach began to show. The war on drugs had become less about public health and more about criminal justice. The war on drugs is a cautionary tale, a reminder that complex societal problems rarely have simple solutions. Well, there you have it, 5 stories, each one a glimpse into the hidden corners of history. If you enjoyed this deep dive into the lesser-known aspects of history, give this video a thumbs up. And don't forget to subscribe to The Silent Newsroom for more hidden histories and untold stories. Because remember, the news doesn't have to be boring. Sometimes the most fascinating stories are the ones that have been silenced, buried, or simply forgotten.